Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me. I am excited to share with you today. We're going to hop right in. All right, just before we get started, I want to say you're going to notice on some of the screen slides a little camera icon that you see at the bottom. What that is if you see something that resonates with you, feel free to take a picture, screenshot, post it, hashtag. Because my kids are watching, that's going to make more sense in a few more minutes. Tag a friend if you think they'll benefit. Now, also, when I share from the perspective of a mother. But truly, the mindset work and the daily tools that I share work for everyone. And let me tell you, I was on this diet roller coaster for upwards of 19 years of my life. I did a lot of shaming and guilting myself and feeling terribly. So I learned it doesn't have to be that way. And I spent so much of my time trying to shrink myself that I am finally ready to take up all the space. So often our attention tends to go to wanting to look differently, wanting to live differently, wanting to be different, but focusing on those things that we think that we're not or that we don't have takes away truly from the parts of our lives that we love the most. We have this one life, this opportunity to be who we are intended to be. And that pursuit has to come with growth and learning and unlearning and letting go and living in gratitude. So for a long time, I lived in self-doubt. I made every decision on a should. And for me, learning to push past doubt, to put faith over fear has been very powerful. And I have the best reason to continue to do so. My daughters. See, not all of our lessons are verbal. Our children really learn by watching us. So I have to be intentional in showing my daughters how to live, not just exist. And I have to show them in real time what resilience and self-trust look like. I have to equip them with the tools that will help them be who they're meant to be, not who I or anyone else thinks they should be. So, by the end of our time here today, I want you to understand three main things: how we stopped following our instincts, how allowing doubt to creep in removes our self-trust, and how to free yourself so that you can be who you were meant to be. I remember feeling self-conscious in everything that I put on my body, like I was a prisoner in my own body. I criticized my stomach, my butt. I would pull on my cheeks in the mirror, imagining how I'd feel different if I were just thinner, as if being smaller and having a smaller body was the answer to my problems. And over the years, and coaching hundreds of women, I see that those feelings are part of a very common theme. Before we get into it all, though, I'm going to share a little of my story. My name is Evelyn. I'm the owner of Evelyn Levasseur Fitness. I am a transformational speaker, a certified Moderation 365 nutrition coach, personal trainer, and I have a specialization in behavior change. I also hold a bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's in education. I know it's a mouthful. Back in the day, I believed I was going to go to college, I was going to graduate, find a job that I loved, and just naturally feel fulfilled. But despite all my accomplishments, I spent the majority of my adult life secretly feeling badly about myself. I presented myself as very confident, but I was super self-conscious, focused on my weight and my body, and stuck in a constant cycle of dieting and binging. You see, I was successful, And I had a lot to be grateful for, but I was still looking down on myself. Growing up, I was athletic and super fit, and I got a lot of attention for my body. So much that I took it on as a part of my identity. Evelyn has a great body. Therefore, who is Evelyn if her body isn't great? So when I went to college and found that freshman 15, I also found dieting and kind of lost myself. And that's what started that 19-year cycle of losing and gaining and shaming. Now, in that time, I married my favorite person. My husband wanted children immediately. It took me about 2 years to get on the same page. Now, getting pregnant for us was the easy part. Staying pregnant was not. And after 2 losses, one very early, one much later, we waited a full year and tried a 3rd time. And this time, even though I watched my body change and I felt my baby move, I could barely let myself feel excitement because I was paralyzed with fear. The thought of losing a 3rd baby would break me. But on February 10th of 2009, I had my first baby girl. And I swear to you, when I heard her cry, it was as if I had taken the first real breath I had taken in 9 months. And in that moment, I vowed to be the best mom that I could be, to make my decisions with intention. And I did. I focused on her character. I showed her love and acceptance. And I provided a home that allowed her to just be who she is. What I didn't account for was how other women would impact her as well. Now, I was at a picnic one day with my husband and my 2 daughters now, and a woman said to my 10-year-old, "Honey, if you want to keep that figure, you better lay off those burgers." Now, I was raging at first, but then this light bulb went off in my mind, and I realized that we women, moms, are a part of the problem, that we don't understand the true effects of our thoughts and our words and our actions, and that we want greatness for our children, but we teach them to shrink in the name of acceptance. So in that moment, I was furious because I had been so intentional about raising my daughters to focus on who they are, not what they look like. But I also knew in that moment that if I was going to make any real change, I had to start with myself, which meant I had to heal my pain so it wouldn't become theirs. And I couldn't strive for this perfect body anymore because I have strong women to raise, and strong women will not be bred from my insecurity. So I had to change my focus from myself to my legacy, because I won't always be here, but I can leave the best parts of me behind. And also in that moment is when I realized that focusing so much of my energy on my own nutrition and exercise had just been a Band-Aid. I wasn't taking care of the whole woman, the responsibilities, the work life, the home life, the stress, the sleep, or the lack thereof, all the things. So that moment at that picnic literally changed the trajectory of my life, my coaching, and my training going forward. So I'm going to introduce 3 concepts that I believe, that I know will help you to never want to shrink or find a smaller version of yourself again. And they are: 1, that changing your body won't change who you are, because true lasting change starts on the inside. And the second is that self-trust is a gift, because we didn't doubt ourselves naturally. We learned that. And that gratitude is the catalyst to freedom, because no matter what, the truth is you are a blessing. And knowing that, truly knowing it, frees you from everything else. So why is this important? I mean, truly, to change any thought or habit, you have to know where it came from. Simple as that. Now, your body knows what it wants and needs. You've just been taught to ignore it. And I'm going to tell you that started when we were young. If you're anything like me in your family, dinner was served and you didn't get up from the table until your plate was empty. Or if you wanted dessert, you had to finish all that food in order to earn it. Now, innocent enough, yes, but for me, that was the beginning of the disconnect from my very own intuition. I learned that I could not make decisions for myself, that other people knew what was best for me, regardless of my hunger or fullness cues. For me, that also translated to questioning my instincts, not only for my body, but for other areas of my life as well. So second guessing myself became my norm. Now I'll ask you, have you ever refused to eat pasta, even though it was the very thing you wanted? That's my little girl enjoying what she calls paspaghetti. The other question, have you ever pushed yourself to finish your work, even though you're exhausted? I have done both of those things. And I'll tell you, there's two reasons why we do this. We have learned to put our wants and needs last, especially as women. We're taught to hustle, as if depriving ourselves of our very needs is a badge of honor. We've also been taught, or haven't been taught, that real body change happens when your insides and outsides are functioning together effectively. We think that if we just eat a little less and exercise more, our bodies will change. But that's really not the way that it happens. A lot more has to be in sync. I call this the 5 principles of health: your sleep, your stress levels, your water intake, your food, and your exercise. Those 5 principles need to work together in order to keep you at your healthiest self. And that cannot come from shaming yourself for wanting specific foods or depriving yourself from the things you need, like sleep. So I'll ask you this. Have you ever said these things to yourself? I have no self-control. I just binge. Oh, I'd be fine if I just had discipline. And I just have no motivation. I used to say these things to myself all the time. But let me make something clear for the record. There is nothing wrong with your self-control, your motivation, or your discipline. The only reason that you binge is because you deprive. That's it. If you want to get rid of the binging, you have to get rid of the deprivation. That's it. You can literally, truly learn to eat the things that you love in a way that benefits your body. That's what I teach my clients. But I also feel scary because we like to feel like we're in control. But to free yourself from dieting and body shaming and not trusting yourself, you don't need control. Let's talk about what you do need. Now, as human beings, we crave certainty and organization, and dieting acts as if that's what it's providing. If I just follow this plan, I'll get the intended result. You feel like you're in control, but those plans don't account for anything that makes you an individual. So inevitably, trying to stick to this plan fails. So the truth is, you were never really in control. And I'm here to tell you, you don't need control. You need self-trust. Now, diets keep you believing that you can't trust yourself, but trusting yourself is the only way to find true food freedom or any sense of freedom in anything in life. When you're trying to live in self-trust, you have to try to reconnect with your body. Your body is constantly telling you what it wants and needs. Celebrate your small wins. If you said to yourself, I'm going for a walk today, and you did, that's a win. If you said to yourself, I'm only going to have 1 can of soda, and you had 1 instead of 3, that's a win. Celebrate your wins. You have to try to silence your shoulds, because truly shoulds are just judgments. You don't need judgment to help you make your decisions. You need your gut instinct to do that. And surround yourself with like-hearted people, because the more people that think and feel like you, the more you benefit from each other's energy. Now, I can also say that for a lot of us, questioning doesn't just stop with food choices. We tend to question ourselves in everyday life. So I'll ask you, when you were young, did your parents ever say things like, because I said so, or because you have to, or because it's the right thing to do? So now those thoughts, although they're harmless in the moment, they teach us to go against our own gut. They're telling us to do the opposite of what our instincts are telling us to do because an authority told us to. So even though those statements are meant to serve as a moral guide or a moral compass, they teach us to ignore our intuition and to silence our inner voice. It kind of sets us up a little for people pleasing as well. So developing self-trust is a process. You have to start by unlearning some of your lessons. You have to expose yourself to things that make you fearful, little bits at a time. And yes, I'm even talking about food. If you think you can't have Oreos in the house because you'll eat them all, guess what? You need to have Oreos in your house and let yourself have them every single day until that food loses its power and you gain your power back. You have to try to silence your inner critic. You have to learn to be in the moment, because so many of our worries come from what ifs. But being in the moment lets you feel joy right now without guilt or shame. And the last thing is, you need to try to treat yourself with the compassion that you so easily give to other people. Now, we're afraid to fail, and we're afraid to let other people down. We're afraid to let ourselves down too. I'm learning to live with the thought that failure doesn't really exist. If I didn't succeed, then I learned, and that's a win for me. A good friend of mine said to me at a very dark time for me, she said, Evelyn, you have a 100% success rate of surviving the things that were meant to break you. It was hard for me to hear that in the moment, but listen, I got the message loud and clear. I can do anything I put my mind to. I have learned, I have fallen, but every single time I got back up. My life is literally a series of events that show me in real time the proof that I am strong, I am resilient, and I am worthy of trusting myself. I'm also learning that the greatest lesson is that gratitude is a superpower. We'll get more into that. Now, this quote catches me in the heart. I spent so many years of my life feeling unworthy, questioning my value, believing that if I could just be different, my life would change. I know now that I was stuck in that mindset because I wasn't living with intention. I wasn't living in purpose. What I know now is that my purpose is not about me. Everything that I went through, everything that I felt was preparing me to be who I am today, to impact the women that come in contact with me. My pain was meant to build me up and to help other women heal from the same situations. My story is one of healing, and my journey is one of growth. My purpose is to lift other women up so they can lift their daughters as well. I am a breaker of generational curses, and a builder of generational health. I am a light. I'm a source of hope. And I am the answer to someone's prayers. And so are you. We are all put on this earth to serve and to impact. For that to be true, we also need to learn to live in gratitude. And let me tell you, I thought that I was, but something was missing. I was truly grateful for the amazing relationship I have with my husband. I was grateful for my beautiful, healthy daughters. I was grateful for my family and my home and my work because I really love what I do. But I treated myself like an outsider looking in. I was grateful for everything and everyone around me. I am literally living the life that I prayed for, but I wasn't grateful for me. I've realized that to live in true gratitude, I have to understand that I am not just blessed, but I am also a blessing. And that's freedom. And that's power. And that is the key to finally living in purpose, on purpose. So going forward, I want you to focus on the big picture and understand that your story is not for you. Your pain will help heal someone else. Your purpose is bigger than you. Gratitude will most definitely bring you joy. You never have to shrink or be different to be worthy because you're already enough. My prayer for you is that you're able to look at yourself every day and say, I am enough, and mean it. And that the freedom you gain from silencing the outside noise is used to lift others up. Because I truly believe that when you heal, you create a ripple of healing that spreads with fierceness. Now you can screenshot this page if you're interested in staying in contact. And I included the link to download my family's favorite smoothie bowl recipes. I just want to thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I appreciate you, and I truly wish you all the love that life has got to bring you. I hope that you leave here today feeling fully ready to take up all the space.